All right, we are live.
Well, look at this, live. Council went a little late tonight,
Mhm.
so we're a little late getting on the air with Mayor's update. But what would the Mayor have to update if he left Council early? So we're here.
Absolutely. We have two very special guests
Yes.
with us this evening. We have Scott Sleightholm. Did I pronounce that properly?
You did indeed.
Yes.
Nailed it.
It's hard
First
to
try.
it's hard to get Scott wrong.
Well, it's the Sleightholm part. That's the part. And try spelling it, because that's what I did on all the descriptions. So if I've mistakenly added some incorrect letters in there,
Yeah.
I apologize
Close
right
enough.
off the
It's
get-go.
close enough.
Live. I'm sorry. I'm getting as close as
We
I
got
can.
Yeah.
And then Will Zufelt as well. Now,
Yeah,
you're the
I'm here.
Chief Operating Officer of ECRM, CASO, Railworks Coalition. Is that right?
Yeah.
And
Great.
you're the chair of the board or president of the board?
Chair of the board.
Chair of the board.
Okay,
All right.
Yeah.
excellent. I
Now-
have a chair too. No.
Yeah.
Nice
We-
green one.
Yeah.
and I'll just remind you to talk nice and loud so everyone can hear you.
Yes, because we're way over there with the camera
Yeah.
tonight, and we have to pick it up off the computer.
And Joe and I have a way of overpowering our guests sometimes.
Oh, no.
So we need to
Not
like.
sometimes. It's every time.
It's every time. All right. We can do
But
this.
they had wrestling again, so if they've been learning, you can
Yeah.
overpower people with wrestling.
There we go.
Yeah. That's
Oh.
right.
Oh, you and me tag team them.
I heard there was like 150 people at that event.
Oh,
More than 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to go off the top rope, but it didn't hold me on the way up. So
It's yeah.
it's just not working.
Yeah. That was a TV moment right there.
Oh, right there, could have. Oh,
Yeah, famous.
right.
So there's so much
Great.
that's happening at the Railworks Coalition, specifically
Yes.
the Elgin County Railway Museum and the rail lands, which have, I heard, been handed over to the Doug Terry.
Well, and sold to the Doug Terry group,
Yeah.
right? And our secondary, from a city point of view, I'll jump
Yep.
in early. A secondary plan on that downtown piece of property
Mhm.
will now start, and we'll talk with all of the landowners, including the museum and the rail station. Now Doug Terry with his piece of property and the surrounding pieces of property, and we'll decide from a council and city point of view a secondary plan for what is a very unique piece of property in the downtown of St. Thomas.
Mhm.
And can it be more? Sure, it's got to be a lot better than where we currently are. So let's
Well-
talk about what those changes might be.
Mhm.
But as I shared for the last year,
Mhm.
this is a process that takes one step and then another step and another step. So we're starting now we've got to the point where the land transfer has taken place. The museum's done some excellent work. If you've been following this
Yeah.
weekend, boy, landscaping and grass and right, who's going to cut the grass? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not coming.
But also, your wrap up for the season finale
Right.
was this weekend. You had all these rail cars, engines outside.
Yeah.
How many hundreds of people did you have out this weekend?
So we had 890 people throughout the day. So probably, it was a success. It was probably our second best day on record of having people come through since after COVID. So it was a great day. We keep it open so that everybody can come, and we don't charge. And it's a great day for people to come out and see our rail heritage, because that's what it's all about. And
Mhm.
we brought 7 cars out into the rail yards,
Right.
which is important.
Out into the sunshine and show them what there is.
Yeah.
And car 14, first time a lot of people have seen that.
Love
The
car
volunteers
14.
have done phenomenal job.
Beautiful car. Our volunteers do incredible work on all the engines, all the material that's in there. Car 14 is just
A bit over the top
Oh,
on how
it's
beautiful.
incredible.
All right.
absolutely incredible.
Just gorgeous. Yeah.
Well, and I'll state something else. We had a bunch of guests here from out of town last year for a wedding we had at the Railway Museum,
Your wedding.
my wedding. And people wandered around like, holy crap, right? Like, look at this place,
Yeah.
right? And many have been back since,
Yeah.
because even that night they said they brought other friends now to come show them what
Yeah.
St. Thomas also has. They're not from St. Thomas. So it's amazing if you can just show people some of the collection and some of that museum, how great that is.
Yeah, and I think, and I never get sick of it. I see people walk in for events, all kinds of events that we're
Right.
hosting, other third-party
Right.
events, and everybody walks in. It's the first response, like, "Oh my gosh, what is this building?
Yeah.
What is this train staring at me? What is going on?" And everybody has the same reaction.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I've had the
So,
same. Yeah.
way to go for where
Yeah.
we are. Each week there's something new, or we're something moving forward, and we'd love to showcase that as part of a great railway heritage in St. Thomas. So let's keep keep going in that direction. It can't be better if you want to talk about railway lands or railway heritage than what we can do in some of that property.
And one of our viewers, Ben Nichols, is just saying it was his first time in the building then, and he was absolutely blown away at the sheer scale of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people think, oh, what's that place over there?
Well, yeah, it's kind of unknown back there. Even people born and raised in St. Thomas. Again, I'm born and raised in St. Thomas, and I didn't know about it until a few years ago, to be honest with you, and now involved with the board. But yeah, you get in there, it's 52,000 square feet as a whole, and even we're not even seeing the whole building as you walk around.
no.
It's just a fraction of the overall building. So it's truly a majestic building, and then the building itself, and then you get in there with our collection and the artifacts, and it just takes it to that next level.
And if you haven't been to Bridges to Better Business, which is coming up on,
I'd say the 26th.
September 26th.
Yep.
That was, I think that was either that or the culinary tour was my first time in there once I came back to St. Thomas after I was away. And it was just, I was blown away by the trains, the lighting that's all hung up above everybody as well. And just like, so I took photos and videos while I was there and I shared them out. And then everyone also was like, what? Where is this? I'm like, it's in St. Thomas. My friends from Toronto were like, no, it's not. I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you about it. This is absolutely incredible.
So last year we had 27,000 people through the building.
Wow.
This year we're probably expecting close to 30 or 32,000 by the time the end of the year happens, right? So when we look at our Christmas event, that will happen at the end of the year, right? We'll expect probably close to about 32,000 people, which is a lot of people.
I know.
And that's good.
That's something special. Right?
And they get to see a real heritage. That's what it's all about, right? It doesn't always have to be at a cost. I mean, get people in there to see the great work that people are doing in that building.
Yeah, just to see, like you're saying, the cars that have been renovated and refurbished is just, it's absolutely incredible because you don't see
labors
that everywhere.
of love.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
The amount of detailed work that's gone into some of the restoration.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I know people who are big on old cars or people that are big on old motorcycles, but there are people who just absolutely love restoring things, right?
And if you're from St. Thomas, you have family members that have worked in the trains. Like my great grandfather worked on the trains in St. Thomas. You know?
So we're the great volunteers at Halton Hills Rail Museum. They've come down and they've been doing a lot of work on underneath the braking and so on of the system and the air brakes. We're hoping for next year that we're able to pull car 14 from St. Thomas to Port Stanley and back
Using the rail.
the PS, which would be amazing.
I said I'd help with questions, so here we are. What's the plans regarding the roof?
What's the plan regarding the roof? That is a hot question. Right now, I'll lay everything out on the table. Is obviously we came into some funds with the land sale with Doug Terry, and that's just a starting point, a seedling for us, I guess, because our vision right now is starting to work on our vision. I guess we've teamed up, partnered up with Lord Cultural Resources, world-renowned organization, and thank you to Doug Terry for the support with that as well. And we're using them. We're engaging with them. They've engaged with the board, our volunteers, our staff. They're going to be engaging with stakeholders in the community to kind of see what do people want in the museum, what do people want to see done with the building, and what's their priority. And with that, then we can kind of say, all right, this is our vision, and therefore we need to do this first or this first, and kind of our roadmap of how we get to the end. So that building being refurbished, retrofitted, so we can use 52,000 square feet, have an incredible museum, and whatever else might be in there. So that's really
what else could be there.
What else
we
could
use
there.
all
Exactly.
50,000 square feet.
We want to make sure we get it right so that this roof lasts or the building lasts for another 100 years. It's very important that we get it right. So we're not going to rush into any one decision saying we're going to do this, this, and this. We're going to take our time.
But we know that some repairs are going to have to be done to a 100-year-old building.
Absolutely.
And we recognize that. As a city, we recognize that. And as your group surely looks at, is we've got a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears in some of the restoration projects in that building. We better make the building also be there for the collection.
For the collection, exactly. And as Will said, we want to make sure we do it properly. There's no point, in my opinion, to putting a quick Band-Aid solution in, which doesn't help us get to our end goal, which is, again, preserving this building for another 100 years. So we want to make sure we do it in the correct order.
Right. And one of the rumors that I've heard is that, like, There are people who want that building condemned, and then they'll just turn it into a subdivision. Can we talk about that?
It's zero chance.
Zero
Chance that's happened.
Our number one mandates are up there with is protect the rail heritage and our rail assets. That building is our largest rail asset and rail artifact. So that is all part of our mandate, is to protect that.
We're going at some of the board members that are on now are the same board members that started up Casel Station, right? Not started, but started the rebuilding of it, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to take some time. They developed a plan and they went at it.
Well, and it's not done. It just keeps improving as it
and
goes.
that's exactly it.
Absolutely.
That's the thought.
So it's going to take some time. We're going to make sure we get it right and protect that and work at it. And the museum's going to be the same way, right? Like it's more than just the land, right? It's more than just the artifacts. It's everything. You have to put it all together, and it's going to take some time. And we have a great partner next door with us, and we have a great city and great community that's going to support it. But it's there for the whole community, and that's the idea of opening up the doors and allowing people to come in and enjoy it from all kinds of different aspects.
That's a great point to move into the next topic, which is about the brownfield. So the rail lands that were sold, we can't, as a city, they can't be used right now because they are brownfields. Correct. So they were sitting there as is, but they weren't able to be remediated. And now there's a chance with Doug Terry coming in where they're actually going to remediate that land.
Well, they'll have to before anything else can happen. And that's part of the secondary plan. I mean, it's great to say, well, let's just do this and this. It's like, your own house. You can't do it if it doesn't match the circumstances you're in. There's a brownfield situation all along there, to the point where even public access for festivals was said, well, we shouldn't be holding them here. There's a brownfield situation. There's lots of ways to deal with brownfields. One is to scrape it down far enough and take that soil and incinerate it. But you got to know how costly that is, right? Another way is to cap it off, to add clean soil to the top and don't go down below what you add. Usually it's 3 to 5 feet. Well, that doesn't sound good to me either. We didn't need to create a mound.
Yeah, exactly. Create a mound.
And then saw some others in this last couple of weeks in some other communities where scraping took place, capping took place of the berms, and other things could happen that way too. So there's a combination of ways that the railway lands, from a city point of view, could get there. That's what the secondary plan's about, right? If we work together with the landowners, and it's always very important, the museum and the Railworks Coalition with the station are two of the landowners circling the railway lands. But there are others. Doug Terry Group now has that land, but we still have the Ball Diamond and some other pieces of property, and all the way around. I mean, just take a look. The other landowners. We want to make sure that everybody's involved in the thought process and the decision process. So,
I think for me, one of the most exciting things was the sustainability of it. Like, here's a plan that's sustainable, where all the partners can come together and move ahead to create something really exciting for our community. Now, can we talk about some of the plans that are going into there? Some of the ideas for that?
Well, we're just in the beginning. We had our first meeting last week, right? And there's going to be some people that are going to be asked to give their opinions and so on, and it's going to be broad. And as Joe said many times, there's going to be a lot of touches on this property. We're going to touch it 1,000 times. So any idea that might be on the table today may not be the best idea, might not be feasible. But we're going to look at this and make sure it's done right. So we're way too early in the process, and it's going to be touched by 1,000 people, and a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts going to come in, and we're going to vet the best idea to keep the rail museum the way it is. That's our number one. That's our heritage. We're keeping the rail museum. It's not going away. Nothing's changing. I mean, there's going to be some changes, but not, nothing drastic. Like, we're not investing into repairing all these, locomotives and all these great things by changing anything. It's going to stay the same.
Just and I think one thing too, just like the secondary planning, is we're going to be reaching out to the community again through Lord, through our board, as the process continues. We're going to be reaching out to the community. what do you think the museum looks like? How would you like it to look? How do you envision this?
If you could
And
sprinkle
again,
pixie dust on it, what would it be?
Exactly.
Right.
Like how do you want this to play out? And again, there's going to be some great ideas, some not some great ideas. There's going to be everything, and then we bring that together and go to the future. It's exciting.
Shelley told me once from Doug Terry, there's 1,000 ways to screw up a project.
Yeah.
Very few ways
very
to make
few
it.
get it done.
And we're going to make sure we do the same thing. There's 1,000 ways we can screw up this project, and there's only a couple right answers. So we're going to make sure we vet everything to get down to those right answers.
Well, I had somebody I want to handle. Terry said, not true. The government grants for remediation and capped with asphalt. Hey, if there's government grants for remediation, this mayor personally has been to each environment minister, both provincially and federally, to ask them for money. Both denied us. So if there's government grants, I'll wait for the next government and move forward on it. But we don't stop asking. That's for sure. And I'm not certain I want a great big field all capped with asphalt. I don't know what you do with that either. Yeah. So I agree with you. There's always alternatives, as I mentioned a couple, right? None of them yet fit what we think the whole project would fit. So we want to get, if you've got a connection with somebody who will pay for remediation, tell me. I'm happy to also go talk to them. I don't mind knocking on people's doors or just walking in. So we'll do that, right?
Brett Longfield's asking, how can the public become members of the ECRM?
The easiest way is go to our website, and on there is the form to fill out. There's different levels of membership: individual memberships, family memberships, deluxe memberships, varying prices. I think they start at $40 or $50.
Yeah, absolutely. They can just come to the museum or Queso station.
Come to the museum or Queso and do that as well. But you can do it right online. Fill out the form. You get a little card in the mail saying you are a honor or card-holding member of ECRM membership, and we have our AGM, our members meetings, information sessions. So
great,
please, absolutely,
come join.
Absolutely,
I signed up this year.
Many hands make lighter work, and it will take a lot of hands. I hope some of you are great fundraisers because it'll take that. I hope some of you are great volunteers that want to look. You saw how many people you had over this weekend. If we could be open more, then even more people will see the greatness and want to become part of it. Hey, we talk a lot on this show about how volunteers make our community run. Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
And when there's a lack of them, we have to pick the high priority things you want to do, right? And I see what you're getting done. So I love what your volunteers are working on. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But that's the real answer. Come on and help everybody.
Yeah.
We have a historical question that's come in from Janet Walker Robertson. She's saying, is that the Michigan Shops? My grandfather worked there and his dad was an engineer. We used to ride free to the States, walkers. I don't know if that is it. If it is, I used to go there as a kid.
That is it.
That's
the building.
Yeah.
It was a functioning repair shop in the day, and you wouldn't have got in there very often as a child. But many parents obviously did, because I keep hearing that story over and over. That's where my dad used to work, and I saw. Right.
So I was very lucky. I was down in Jackson, Michigan this summer, and I went to the sister building.
Right.
Oh, wow. And they also had a couple other buildings that were on our properties were exactly the same. It was interesting to see, it felt good to the heart to walk in there and go, we could do this. Right? Like they had all the windows up and it was warm, just like it was summer, but it was like, we can do this.
Yes.
This is a sister
all
building.
Things are possible.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's amazing. So yes, that is the building. And it's a fabulous building. It's a great building.
Yeah. Scroll, if you would. No down.
You sound like my son. Scroll up. No, scroll down. Scroll up.
The other down. Yeah.
Sideways.
Here's a question. We were talking about this beforehand. Is there still going to be a track to get to Port Stanley for the cars?
Yeah.
That's the LNPS or the Port Stanley Terminal Rail. Yeah. A great group of volunteers that have been doing this for a lot of years.
Just did their anniversary.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah.
And boy, we seem to have the train coming from Port Stanley or using the Port Stanley lines into St. Thomas almost every weekend now. And I know we've got a couple more weekends coming up, whether it's Oktoberfest or
Light Up Talbot. I don't know if that one's going to happen for that one, but
Nostalgia
Oktoberfest
Nights,
for sure. Nostalgia Nights
we had train rides. And we're finding local businesses all the time sponsoring those train rides.
Yeah.
So it's the right thing to
Thank
do.
you to
I was
Wendy's.
one,
You're one of them.
right?
Yeah.
But kids on a train, it's a special thing.
They
right?
love it.
Oh.
I've
Yeah.
taken my four
Yeah.
and a half year old on the train multiple times. He doesn't get sick of it. Same thing. It's like the first thing he's ever done. So it's amazing.
Lily's 3 now, loves it.
Yeah.
It's just, there's something about railways, especially for kids. I remember I was the same way. Like I loved railways. I loved the heritage. I loved like drawing them even as a kid. And I had this whole book of like old railways or locomotives and cars and stuff. And I would draw them. It was very, very fun.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's,
that's what turned you into such an artist.
That's it right there. That and my great grandmother.
If only I practiced drawing trains.
Hey.
That's where it all begins.
Okay, we got a question about, there was a $36,000 donation to the museum. I believe it was like this week it was announced officially. How is that money being utilized?
So that is actually being utilized, what I was talking about earlier, with our phase 1 of our visioning process with Lord Cultural Resources. So again, that was a thank you to Doug Terry for that to support. And that just shows you how dedicated Doug Terry and his team is with teaming up with us and seeing success.
In Dad's case, it goes back to Dad.
Well, exactly,
in Doug's case, it goes back to Dad. Right?
Yeah. So that's what that's being used for.
Very good. And now there was, some people have talked also about the initial plan that some people have seen. There's a rendering. I believe there's like a Ferris wheel on the lands. And there's some questions about what happened to that plan. Where is that at? What are the ideas?
So that was a plan, I believe, from Dorothy Palmer Estate. So
Yeah.
the money was given through the Dorothy Palmer Estate just to go, hey, what could happen? Not this is going to happen. What could happen? And it was like, hey, let's, throw some fairy dust and something to say, hey, what could it be? And they threw it out there and said, here's an idea.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you go with ideas, you have to vet them out and go, can it be done?
Yeah.
Right? Who pays for this? Remediation of land, and who runs the Ferris wheel, and who, runs the TV, and all these great things. And then I'm sure at one time they vetted through that and went, hey, it could or couldn't be done. But it was just something that was thrown out there and saying, hey, here's an idea that can happen. Well, it was a great idea.
We saw some more of that this year with the Fanshawe College landscape design concepts for that was just put out there. I know Doug was a part of gathering some of that information too. Is, hey, if you're all studying to do this, whether it's landscape design or urban design, and there was some great stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
It was incredible.
There was kind of. I'm not sure
sky.
I like
Yeah.
it. Well, I'm not sure I need a pond there, but if you had one, that would be a good place for it, right? But it was some really great stuff. We even had the winner of that competition come and present to council, just so we had a thought as we move towards the secondary plan. How pie in the sky can we be? How real can we be? What will the city look like in its city center? So we want to make sure, even as the city's fathers, we get that stuff right too.
What could it be?
Right.
What can this land be? What can the museum be as well?
Yeah. No, I love that visioning process.
So that exactly what it was. It's just a vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was, I can't say for sure how close it was to, putting shovels in the ground. It probably wasn't, right? Maybe 1% right. But that's what it was. It was just, hey, city, put a little bit of energy behind it, say, this is possibly what we could do.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes it turns into things and sometimes it doesn't.
Or a piece of it does.
That's right.
Or
Exactly.
something. Yes. What a neat concept. I don't think in those days we're even thinking of the Railway Museum as an event center. And yet look at the type of event center it is kind of morphed into.
Joe, I think there was one time you were there 6 times.
In 1 week.
In 1 week.
Yeah.
You were there more than I was.
Well, we started.
And I have to
you have to be there, right?
I showed up some days and
Joe's
Joe's already there.
Yeah,
he didn't leave.
But it's true. It's becoming, and
It's a hub.
and they were all different events, different groups, right? But I had to go shake a hand here, deliver a certificate there, or watch a hockey game. Right? It was part of it. But that's the type of thing it's becoming. Now, can it permanently become that?
Joe, so it's an event center and it's still a museum.
Right.
And it's still, the heritage is still there.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people, if they didn't come in for the event, they wouldn't know there was this great 57-year.
That's the thing I want to talk about. If you're not doing the events, you're not bringing in people who wouldn't otherwise come in for it, they wouldn't have that tangible excitement of seeing these massive locomotives.
Last year, 2,700 people came through the door for museum, just
Right.
museum. This year, we'll be at 2,600. So those numbers are going down. But overall, for people to
How
go
many
see
people
our
came in to
heritage
see-
is actually going
or
up.
or for a wedding event, or for a
Exactly.
comedy event, or for wrestling,
Or
and
the
then
biggest
they go.
announcement in St. Thomas's history.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Volkswagen announcement was done in that facility.
Yeah, we had the Prime Minister of Canada in the building. We had the Premier in the building. We had
building.
all the ministers that are involved in the building. We had all the executives from
I
PowerCo.
think the mayor of St. Thomas
Was the mayor of St. Thomas
he
there?
was there.
I think I saw him in the background.
Yeah,
I
he
think
was
I
there.
did.
Yeah,
see
he
him
was.
there.
He was
He was,
in.
yeah.
Was in some shots.
I didn't make all the CBC stuff, but I was there.
Well, you know, sometimes.
But
So-
that's the great thing.
But
That's
look,
what
it's about carving off the what can be's
Mhm.
and saying yes. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can
Mhm.
at least research that. Yes, we
Exactly.
can at
Yep.
least plan whether that's possible. Yes is the answer, not it's not possible. And that's not, I'm not hearing that from your group at all.
Well,
No.
Joe, when I took over this organization, that
Right.
was the mentality I took. The answer is yes.
Right.
How do we get it? And I
Right.
learned that from you.
Yeah.
And there was a great group called the Pfeffer Rally where they were
Mhm.
racing little toy cars over at Pinafore Park.
Yep.
And I said, let's come over here. And I talked to our great
Yep.
volunteers. Next thing, they
Oh.
had a
It's
40
a huge event. It was,
Next thing, we have all these kids in there, and now they're racing trains. This
Right.
is what we
It's-
want. This
yep.
is part of our heritage. This is who we are.
It's
So
so
it's all
cool.
good. And I got to say this: I got the greatest staff in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps execute it.
Mhm.
I by far have the best staff. Hands off. Nobody can go hire them. We don't want anybody.
Right.
But they're not that good. No, I'm joking. They're the greatest staff in the world, and those are the people that execute these things, and
Yeah.
they do it
It's
flawlessly
fantastic.
and put tons of hours in.
And Dancing with the Stars is coming up. It's at Queso. It was at ECRM last year.
Yes,
it's at
I
Queso
danced
this
there
year.
last year.
Are
Yes.
there tickets still available for this
There
incredible
are
event?
tickets.
There are tickets still available. It is next Friday. No, this
This-
Friday. Sorry,
this
this
Friday.
Friday.
Friday coming up. It's
Yeah,
already,
September
already
6th, this
Tuesday.
Friday,
Yeah.
7 p.m.
Right.
Tickets are still available.
Oh, you danced there last year too.
I did. I believe you might have been there as well.
I
on
did. We had
Intention.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Scott.
We had three
Yeah.
dancers there.
Three
last
dancers
year,
right
yeah.
here. You wouldn't think it to look at us, but we danced our hearts out.
Go look up the
Yeah.
up the film.
I don't think they
Right.
posted the film anymore.
Oh, come on.
Did any,
Well-
did any of you guys win?
Did we have
in
fun?
my
It
heart?
wasn't about
Did,
winning.
did we have fun?
I didn't
Yeah.
fall
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Right. And I did not drop Stephanie.
Yeah.
So life has been
So
good.
Yeah.
that is
That's a
that's a
win.
big one. Yeah.
Oh,
Jess
win.
wouldn't let me
Very
lift
good.
her.
Oh,
Jess was like, no lifts. I was like, Jess, if we're gonna win, we need some lifts. And she was like, I'm pregnant. We're not doing it. And I was like, okay. Reasonable.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
That's a good one.
So
That's a good one.
Louis, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We played it
Yeah,
safe
we
with you,
played it
and
safe
it all
with you.
worked out.
Yeah,
Thank
it
goodness.
worked. Yeah.
Hot rods and
Yes. That is
it's coming up at
Lit
ECRM.
Up for Brandon.
Lit Up for
right?
Brandon
Yeah.
fundraiser.
Yeah.
Is that the 7th? Is that on?
Yeah, I believe so.
believe
Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah, Lit Up
Yeah.
for Brandon.
Wow.
They're putting on
Is that already?
an
I know,
events
everything's-
there. Yeah. So
Everything's this week and next week. I've got
Mhm.
stuff scattered all over.
Yeah.
Hot rods and hops. Is that it?
something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have it on my desk
But
at work. to be
Lit Up
honest
for
with you.
Brandon, fantastic charity.
Fantastic.
They're holding the event.
Right.
They helped out with the Nostalgia Nights. Some of their crew helped out with that. They also helped with an event in Elmer, which is an amazing car show.
Yes.
Now they're at the ECRM for another event. So if you're doing something on Saturday and you're looking for something, or you're looking for something to do on Saturday, there you go. Bing, bang, boom.
Yep.
Terry Fox Run is also coming up quickly.
Except 15th, Sunday the 15th, early in the morning.
Yep.
And then we have Kirkland of the Tartans
Yes.
after that. And
Oh
then
my
there's
goodness.
an event at the old church that day too.
Yep.
I may not see my house.
Yeah, you're going to be
No,
very
this is
busy.
what
It's
happens.
just moving
Right.
around.
Right. Yeah, what can we do instead? Right.
Oh, so many things. So many. Elgin County Studio Tour is another one. I've been
Oh,
pumping that on through established media.
You've been putting it on this, and I've been watching each of them.
Oh.
Right. It's
Oh.
great stuff coming up. And we had them on last week, of course.
We
but-
did, Mary, and there's a painting.
Yeah,
Mary
Joe-
dropped the painting off for Joe.
Right.
It's beautifully wrapped.
Oh, no.
This
I'm
is
figuring
Joe's,
it's-
it's Joe's
it's
painting
way
right
better,
here.
Way better than the one I painted is wrapped in there until I unwrap it. Then
It's dropping that one off.
it's look,
Oh.
we've got a lot of things going on in our community, and we
Oh my
like
gosh.
to respect our railway heritage. We love to brag about it too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
We had the St. Thomas Stars here tonight.
Yes.
as a deputation to City Hall.
Love
Oh,
it.
nice.
As a deputation, and they brought their new
I was going to
mascot.
ask, did the new mascot
The
come?
new
Yes,
mascot,
I do
Jumbo.
love that.
Ah, so
Jumbo
good.
came and
Yeah.
was presented to council tonight, and we and you know how Councillor Peters is about his Jumbo collection.
Yes.
It's one he doesn't have, and so
Was he
poor
trying
kid
to?
ran. No,
Yeah, I was going to say.
it's a lot of fun talking about different things that have to do with our railway heritage in our community, including Jumbo the elephant.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap this up for our Rogers audience, and then
Right.
we're going to continue on because we have some more questions to
Great.
get into with our live audience because we have
Right.
so many things coming in, and this is such a great discussion.
Right. So we won't.
Fantastic.
Please stay on and keep
Mhm.
leaving us your questions. Some of them we have skipped over because we had already answered them,
We're-
like who are our guests tonight
Yes.
and that type
Yeah.
of thing. So
Who are these strange
Who are-
guys?
Who are these people?
we will redo that
Yeah.
We
once
will.
we get off our obligation to Rogers,
Yep.
and we'll go back again.
And if you're watching Rogers, then please go to our Facebook page, Established Media, and you can continue on with the show because there's a lot more to come.
Right.
But we'll see you on the other side.
Right.
And we're back live.
Hey!
How was that? How was
I don't know what to do there.
I love being behind the
you
scenes
mimicked.
here.
You did good. This is technology at its best.
I literally thought the world paused.
No, we all.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's their edit points. And then Rogers can cut out there. It'll go to the outro.
Beautiful.
It was wonderful. We got
Well
to say hi to
done.
everybody. And now we'll make sure we work through all the questions. Oh my goodness. Joe, is there any way to advertise both ECRM and PSTR together on some of the roadway entrances to the city, like roundabouts at Wellington Road, Sunset, or east end of town on number 3, like big billboards?
What
Met a
about the
gentleman.
great big train at the roundabout at Wellington coming into town?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're already, at the main entrance to our community,
Mhm.
have a railway piece there. We'll
Yes.
continue to do it.
And I
Of course.
believe there are billboards. If you go around the roundabout, there's 2 billboards. One's a Downtown Development Board billboard, and then there's also
Service club.
a Service Clubs ones. And now we're looking at replacing them
Right.
and the
So
cost
we
for
can
that.
put some up.
Yeah.
About, right.
I mean, there's
We can do
opportunities
more.
there.
I'm not saying not to do more. Right.
Yes.
So it's great, but we can. And I'm sorry. Is that Endeavor?
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
I don't know what you guys are talking
This
about.
is
right
the
now.
name of the art
The
installation.
name of the sculpture is Perseverance.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is a sculpture that like set St. Thomas on fire, and then the trend has continued.
Well, we've
Yeah.
continued to do artwork in our roundabouts and other places in town. We'll keep your eye on it. There's
Look at
more
all
to
the
come.
murals.
Hmm?
Great work Andrew Gunn's doing.
Oh well,
the
Andrew
murals
helps a
are
lot with some of
fantastic.
this, but our own local art community
Mhm.
and the committee, street art committee, whether it's murals and or roundabout art, we're doing a lot.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. There's a question. I'm not sure if we'll be able to answer this, but Brett Longfield's asking, how is St. Thomas Proud involved with Railworks Coalition, Elgin County Railway Museum?
Well, that's our tourism
That's
group.
St. Thomas EDC.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
the EDC. They're involved. They've partnered with us on many events that we've put on. They've put on events there. So I think that's probably the best way, and that I can think of.
And also with the Port Stanley Terminal Rail.
Exactly.
Our tourism group is
Yeah.
involved in many of the train things that happen.
Yep.
But certainly, we've chosen this place as we've chosen the Elgin County Railway Museum as a great event place to make big announcements, right?
Right.
And to
Exactly.
go there and do.
And a lot of promotion. So Railway City Tourism will promote the events you're putting on, either
Right.
at ECRM or CASO or any of the other
Right.
things. And then
A
St.
lot of
Thomas Proud
cross pollination here in St. Thomas.
You got to do it.
There
If
is.
you're on one
Yep.
group,
Yeah.
you're on the Downtown Development Board. I'm on the yes.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
turn
we all know
around
each
and
other.
you're like,
And
oh, you just
sometimes
put on your other hat.
Just put on your other hat.
Yep.
Exactly.
Who am I representing today? Oh, wait, I'm the mayor. I get it. Right?
Yeah.
So it works.
Another question is, how is the Iron Horse Festival part of the Railworks Coalition?
It is not.
Not a part of it.
It is not. I believe at once it was, or that was the
It
beginning.
was
Yeah,
part of
I
the old
believe-
on track.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
believe
was
that's
part of
where it
that.
kind of began
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah.
And then
It was supposed to be the
kind
four
of-
organizations. Supposed to be Elevated Park, the
Okay, so
Elevated
Okay,
Bridge.
so-
ECRM and Iron Horse.
correct, and then it just really came down to two.
Mm-hmm.
well, and the Iron Horse Festival was kind of morphed into the St. Thomas Arts and Music Festival.
Correct.
Yes,
And so
yes.
it's tried to become a greater
Mhm.
arts and music festival
Yeah,
that has
correct.
railway heritage, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Iron Horse Festival was downtown.
Mhm. And there was a lot of conflict with some of the business owners who were frustrated with the street being shut down for so long,
Right.
and some of their clients were older, so it was harder for them to access the businesses if they didn't have rear access. So it was an easy transition to say, okay, we're going to go to Pinafore Park, and if you didn't go this year, go next year, because it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
With the musicians,
really good job.
And the different the tents for the different vendors that were along, the food providers.
We have to do more of those festivals.
Yes.
And you and I have talked about that. The more festivals we can attract. Now the next one is a downtown Saturday one with
Oktoberfest.
Right? But we'd like to add 2 or 3 more festivals. Right? A city to the north of us, I forget its name, but some of the people in St. Thomas.
Most of the nickname north of St. Thomas North or
London.
London.
Yeah, I got it. Holds a
Tip
lot
of
of
the tongue, right there.
No.
I had the teeth to lips.
But we need to develop our park lands like Pinafore Park to be able to handle festivals like they can at Harris Park or
most
Victoria
of the time,
Park.
Provided
this
it doesn't
year.
rain.
Well, it's always going to rain on outdoor festivals. It got pretty deep at Harris Park.
Yeah, because Harris Park got
rock the park.
Yeah, we
we
should
should
put
swim the park.
A call out to
You
the
talk about developing. That's exactly what ECRM's about, right?
Right.
Developing that space.
Right, so we
Yeah.
can create a
Downtown
downtown space.
won't
Indoor
get
and outdoor.
flooded. Won't
Right.
get flooded.
no.
Not there.
Oh, you're putting in a secondary entrance. I read.
Already in.
Done. Whoa. So then perfect.
Great.
It's
We can come in from either way.
I know. There's
Oh,
more
yeah.
ways to get in.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
all good.
What is the Railworks Coalition's registered mandate as a charitable organization? Are you a charitable organization?
Which one? Sorry.
Railworks.
Railworks
not.
is not.
It is not.
No. Railworks is kind of the umbrella organization that ECRM and CASO / actually is North America Railway Hall of Fame
Right.
is actually the organization of that. So it's Railworks.
And they're not for profit or charitable.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
One's provincial, one's federal.
Yeah.
Right.
And Railworks is just kind of where we kind of do all our business. We tie it instead of having 2 separate meetings. Like, you know,
Right. Sure.
board meetings
Board
go on nonstop. We just
We
Yeah.
have one.
tie it into one. We do
Yeah.
one. So that's really what it is.
Makes sense. So we talked about being a board member. What privileges or rights do you get as a board member if you join? And what, I guess, if you're a member in general? So I signed up to be a member. General member. That's what I should say. What kind of rights or privileges do I get as a member?
Yeah. So I'd had, again, everything's on the website, but as a member, there's again different levels. You get I believe free entrance to the museum throughout the year. I believe there's discounts on the merchandise.
10%.
I think it varies.
I read it when I signed up, but
yeah.
I forget the exact number. Yeah.
And
You
then
get advance notice of ticket sales.
yeah, advance notice of events and that.
But if you're going to the website to get a membership,
Check
look at what else is available to you as a member. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then which is important. Obviously, you get a vote and a seat at our meetings, our annual general meeting, our members meeting, and come out and have your say. Kind of talk to us.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The great thing is you can, there's a whole nother part behind this. You get a chance to come out and work with some of the greatest volunteers and do some great work.
Yeah.
That's, one of my favorite times through the week is Saturday at 10 o'clock when I get to sit there and have coffee with, the greatest volunteers. Like these guys do great work. And I just get to sit there and they talk about rail heritage and remember this guy and that guy and all that. And they do all the great work that they do.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest perk of being a member.
Yeah.
Right. Really, it's the work that you get to put in. And when when I look at Cliff this weekend and got to see all the kids walk into car 14 the first time, or adults or whatever, and they get to look at it and he gets to go, this is this, and this bell works and all this good stuff. And you just get to see people.
Took this long to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. And then there's the volunteers that were there way before, right? That did work that aren't part of our organizations for, whatever reason. But, a lot of that work was done over a long period of time and a lot of work still to be done. So that's the greatest thing about being a member or being part of the organization.
I think too, sorry, because you kind of brought it up, is we have our members, which gives you the perks and the entrance to that, but volunteers, as we've said many a times, even if you want to be, not even if you would like to be a volunteer and you have that passion for rail, or you like tinkering, you like restoring things, as we talked about, of all kinds, and being part of the heritage that's in St. Thomas, we're volunteers. We'd love volunteers to come
Right.
in and help. And again, we have a fantastic volunteer base right now. They'd welcome anybody in with open arms, and it's truly a great.
And 100% more would never hurt.
Exactly.
Right? It's just the more we can have, the more it is
100%.
possible to do.
We're looking for volunteers. We have Don, a new volunteer that's there, and he gives guided tours or answers questions on the floor. And he's there 3 days a week. Some new volunteers that help fixing the trains and so on. And they do that great work. And we have some volunteers sit on the board and help advise me of the organization.
The governance takes good volunteers.
Yeah.
It needs it. Right?
Great volunteers. So it's a lot of good stuff. So membership comes a lot of different ways, and that membership has its privileges, and we have great people. And that's why you see the advancement, like a lot has been done in the last 2 years, is because of the active people.
Yeah.
Right? It's the
100%.
people that do it, right? It's the support.
All right. Another question that came in is, in terms of input for the development, what's the best way for people to stay involved so they can have input on what their ideas are? We talked a little bit about it. We're just going to run back to that question.
I'd say become a member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Become a member, get involved, whether it be through volunteering, come out to our meetings. We do, obviously, on our AGMs, we have member information sessions, which more of an open forum, just to kind of have that open conversation, because transparency across the board between the board, the staff, the volunteers, the members. So that's probably how I would say, if you want to get involved, become a member.
So we've really done that. The doors are open more in the building.
Yep.
New people are coming in.
Yeah.
The doors are open. People are seeing the buildings alive by, you can have great murals on the side and so on. But the board has also changed their philosophy of being, by doing these information sessions 4 times a year, and joining 2 organizations, Queso, ECRM together, through the great work of the staff and so on. But it's open. Like there's not a time that Scott or any of us won't answer a question. Come to a board meeting, we'll sit there as long as we need it, ask a question.
Yep.
Right? We don't do a mayor's update. Maybe we should do that.
Hey, we could do a vlog.
Compete with you guys.
Wow. Good luck.
Yeah, we kind of got there first, guys.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know.
So get out.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Overstayed our welcome
honestly,
already.
no. Honestly, though, if you did, it'd be great. The more, the merrier. The more
Right.
communication, the more engagement we can have in our community, the more transparency, the better.
And when you think there's more information,
Mhm.
ask us. Come on.
Yeah.
Often we sit here alone and have to make
Yeah.
You guys
stupid
just
jokes.
banter back.
You
and forth
you guys
for
have seen
half
us.
an
We
hour.
just, we do what we can with what we have.
So please, we'll have you on more often. Just tell us. Right?
Rose Gibson says, fabulous building. This is Councillor Rose Gibson. Says, fabulous building. Attended many events there, which is great.
Yeah. Thank you, Rose.
And she's one of many people. Another question is, can people see the designs that Fanshawe College put together anywhere? Is there anywhere online to see that, or is there any place for that?
I will. I don't know if there is, but I'll get.
I originally was given just the winner's plan.
Yeah.
And then it said, hey, can we get the rest? It was a design competition, so there's some. I'm sure they're available someplace. I thought they were all online. Somebody had told me at one
I
point.
will talk to Professor Pohl from
Right,
Fanshawe,
right.
see if it's okay, and we'll just post it up on our
Yeah.
Facebook page. And
Yeah.
there's some great ideas.
Oh,
There's
great.
Nice.
Yeah.
talented,
We'll
talented
post it up
people.
on ours too if
Yeah.
if Professor Pohl will let us do it.
I remember sitting through a few of them, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
I never would have envisioned this for this land. Or
But that's where you get the
ECRM.
fresh
And I was like,
start.
holy heck,
That's where
this
you
is
get
amazing.
the fresh
Yeah.
idea. It may not be the final idea, but,
No, but
it
it's just-
starts to clear your mind
That's the
of
thing, right?
what. Oh wait, it's just grass and rails.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Right?
It's so much more.
Yeah. So much
so
more.
much more.
Yeah.
Potential is
Like,
huge.
one of my cousins was at Fanshawe and was a part of that whole process, and he loved it.
Amazing.
He was so excited.
Yeah.
He was asking me for like drone footage of the area so he could build out his plan, put it into his plan. It's very cool. Another question is about the monetary cost of remediating the rail lands, which I think is you can't really say
I've
until you
heard
get
it
into it.
estimated in millions from
Yeah.
10 to 30.
Yeah.
Now that's an
That's-
estimate till you actually poke a bunch more holes and find out how deep the contamination is. But as a person who's built buildings before, that's kind of the cost of dealing on contaminated land.
Yep.
Mhm.
Now, as each year passes, it gets somewhat easier to cure contaminated land too, because we find great new ways to do it. So by the time we finish the secondary plan and we start talking about what's going to be there, it also is remediation has to be done to certain levels,
Mhm.
where there's parkland standards, housing standards,
Yes.
right? And so the cost of doing each one is a little different than the next.
Yeah. And the last thing you want to do is get it wrong.
Well, because then you can't move again without taking up more land in case you wanted to take it from a capped off standard to a parkland standard or housing standards.
I got to say, is Doug has really jumped in on this.
Oh yes.
I mean, this is a project he didn't have to do.
No.
He could have done some other project.
No, but his heart's in St. Thomas, and this is
right
what
in the
brings
middle
him
of
to
St.
it.
Thomas,
Right.
right?
And so
And one with a lot of eyes on it.
right.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's not
Oh,
like
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's-
Question about the intended use of the railway museum moving forward compared to its original registered purpose. I don't know what the original registered purpose or if there was
a repair
one.
shop.
Well, no, I think what they're talking about is the original charitable status, right?
Okay.
So the original charitable status, some people have, there's a belief or a thought that it has to just stay as a museum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody once challenged me, what does the future of a museum look like?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if you go to Europe, museums are funded by the government.
You should
Yeah.
see them.
Right? I go talk to other chain museums, they're struggling just
Yeah.
like we are, including the one in downtown Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of museum is to show the artifacts, right? We are
Yeah.
showing the artifacts. The difference is we're trying to get people in to celebrate our artifacts in different, more creative ways.
Mhm.
That's what it is. We are not in downtown Toronto where we have 2 million people. The
Mhm.
museum in Chicago, right? They're outside Chicago. We don't have a draw of 6 million people.
Yeah.
But what we did have is a draw of 60,000 people in our area. We had 27,000 people, 30,000 people are going to walk through to celebrate and see
Yeah.
the heritage. And
Yeah.
just people are coming through the doors different ways. And
Mhm.
now we have more doors. They're coming through more
Right.
doors in a different
Well,
way. So we're
if
just
I could
opening up the
just
doors.
Yeah.
give some thoughts. Of course, I spent some time in Ottawa, and the
Mhm.
War Museum there is a
Oh,
great place to go visit.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Now, once you've done it a couple times, you go, okay, been to the museum.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found going there at night for events was
Yes.
incredible.
Yes.
Right. And you would be there with people who would otherwise not think of going to a war museum or
Mhm.
going to a museum of that type. And then, so that's where, when you can combine a museum with an event space or use a museum as an event space, you start to get its character changes. It isn't
Mhm.
just about railways, or it isn't just about the War Museum tanks, right? I was there at an event recognizing some people, and by the way, it was this, right?
Yes. And when I was in Toronto, I was a member of the AGO. And
Right.
so they would have after dark events where if you're a member, you get to go in and see the show before anybody else.
Right.
And there would be entertainers, there would be food. It was a great way to, as a perk for a member, to go in and see this space and continue to go back because you're going for something else. Because you can see the art so much, but they only change, the display only changes so fast.
Correct. Yep.
So I've been fortunate to be in that building many different hours throughout the day. When you see that building, Rob Stern once told me that, like, this building lights up. It's alive different ways. Where that sun rises in the morning, the trains look
Yeah.
one way.
Got a different way.
If it goes down the other side, when it comes down and goes around, everything looks different. When it's a full moon, and that moon is shining through that
From a
part,
certain
certain
right
time
angle,
for a
yep.
certain period,
Yeah.
it's breathtaking. In the winter, it's amazing, right? So it's just that building is alive. Like it's alive by what you see in there. It's alive by the community starting to celebrate and see it, right? The building's alive. It's like Night at the Museum. We showed that movie, right?
I love it.
It's,
When you guys are like, yeah,
right.
yeah,
so
it's
good.
great. It's absolutely great.
And then there's a question that says, you need Gord Walker to give you the history of this amazing railroad. He has all the history. Do you know who that is?
Gord Walker, I'm writing it down.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Janice Walker Robertson asked the question, so she may be somebody we can reach out to. If you can't, and we'll find.
Yeah,
I think she said it was an uncle or a dad. So
Yeah. So Janet, you can fire me that information through established media, and I will connect you guys
Yeah,
up.
that'd be
with it.
fantastic.
All right. There's a question about ECRM pencils that apparently you offered people. Is this?
Yeah, if anybody ever wants a pencil,
Do we?
Yeah, we have some ECR pencils, so
All right.
absolutely give
They're only
pencils out.
$100 each because it's a fundraiser.
Well, hang on.
I don't know, but
I only found 5 of them. So
we can do it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, they're down to 4,
Yeah.
and one of them's
We got
broken.
one.
Yeah, but yeah, there's some available in the
Alright.
gift shop. Okay.
we'll order some more if somebody wants some.
Okay, we've got a question about Ben Nichols says, what are their career backgrounds? I want to know more about them. So please clarify who the them are you're talking
I
about.
would assume it's Scott.
I would,
well,
yeah, I would assume.
because
So,
I think nobody's questioning our credentials.
Yeah.
Well,
What's
if-
your background?
if people
here,
don't know
Joe?
our backgrounds after the 5 years of this show,
Yeah. Right. Then you haven't been here, so
Yeah.
screw you.
So I don't know who the them are, but the person that really runs the museum, and I talked about the great staff, is Rose.
Mhm.
Right? Rose is the one that dictates everything. Like if an artifact's going to come in, I'm like, don't hand it to me because
Rose will tell you what to
we're
do.
on it. Yeah. Rose is the person. She is a wealth of knowledge. She loves trains, right?
Mhm.
She just morphed into this train expert, right? We hire students. They're volunteers up there. Rose is the person that takes care of the museum aspect, right?
Mhm.
The board doesn't really go into the governance of the museum, right? So, and then we have Ashley, who's a great events person, right? That takes
Yes.
care of all the events. She is a genius at what she does, right? And then we have Lindsay, who runs our social media and so on. And then we have Nico. So if those are them, that's them. It's not me. It's not Scott. It's
No way.
them. They do
No.
it. I'm just there knocking down, mountains to help them get their job done, and they do a
Create
great
that
job.
pathway so we can
That's right. It's
move to the future and
Mhm.
go
We talk
forward.
about them, the staff,
That's
great staff,
Yeah.
phenomenal staff.
Yep.
Look
Yep.
what they've done in 2 years. Great staff.
Absolutely. We've got some question about Andrew Gunn and Young and Free Press and how they're involved with the Railworks Coalition and Elgin County Railway Museum.
Andrew's he's a great donator,
Supporter.
and he's
Great supporter.
a great supporter. He's a guy that looks at things differently. Like he does. He brings great ideas, and the mural work that he's done in
Well, he also often brings, as the mayor of this town, I can thank him. He often brings the resources to do a project we all thought to do, whether it was a mural or a piece of art or
a park.
a park,
Yeah.
like Westlake Evans Park across. He brings first the idea, and then some of the planning, and then some of the resources to help pay for it.
Yeah.
So love community supporters like that. If you want to be a volunteer like Andrew, be one.
Yeah.
You want to
And
be
he
want to
would-
be a planner like Andrew? Be one. You want to be a donator like Andrew? Be one.
Absolutely.
Last year he donated a 6-figure
Yeah.
donation or secured a security.
Yep.
He also started the
bikes.
bike tours.
Bikes.
Oh yeah,
Scooter
the
tours.
scooter tours.
He
Yeah.
also helped fund our
Yeah.
first study, so we know where we're at with the building, so we know where the costs are and so on.
Yeah.
Andrew's been a great supporter.
Yeah, I don't think he's done with his help on the project.
Oh,
the
no,
Young
I
and
think
Free
it-
Press
yeah.
is
Andrew's
the group.
never going to be done.
No.
He
Yeah.
will.
They're doing fantastic things.
He's one of these people.
Well, he
behind
and
the
I go
scenes.
back some 25 years, I would think, when we were talking about different things that could happen in St. Thomas. This is before my first time in politics. Well, I was still just a business person, right? And he's just been here ever since,
Yep.
and he cares about his
Quietly
community.
goes in behind the.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yep. So hope that helps.
Mhm.
We want him.
I always like when you chuckle first, like, "Oh, this is going to be a good one. Here we
Well,
go."
I don't know how to ask some of the questions. It's like, how is the St. Thomas District Chamber of Commerce involved with Railworks Coalition, Elgin County Railway Museum, Queso Station? I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that we think it's amazing. I mean, the best person to ask like Paul Jenkins, who's the CEO, would be the best person to ask that question to. Aside from you can say how they've helped.
What's the phone?
Yeah.
He's energy.
Mhm.
I look up to Paul. Like, there's a lot of.
Yeah.
I'm not from a nonprofit, but I look up to people like Paul. He is the energy. Like he changed that organization of the chamber, right? And he is the chief energy officer of that organization. There's
yeah.
no doubt about it.
It's
right?
incredible.
He that's the one thing I took from him. So he's a tenant. He's someone I can talk to.
Right.
Someone you can have a beer with too.
Mhm.
He's just a good guy.
If you go back far enough,
Yeah.
the connection of the chamber with Barry Fitzgerald
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
the Chamber of Commerce and with the rail heritage in our community
Yeah.
is just a given.
Yep.
But I don't think there's any active member in many charitable organizations or community organizations that aren't also involved in our railway heritage in some way, shape, or form.
In some way, absolutely.
Yeah. There's a question: how and why is Elgin County Railway Museum's bylaw being changed?
So
bylaws? Well, they are.
Yep, they're being revamped. We actually have a members meeting coming up on the 25th. So if you are a member, notification went out.
The question is why they're being changed. Is the federal government says you have to do certain things too, right?
As
a
charitable,
we have to do certain things, which is a good time for us to blow open the bylaws, dust off some of the cobwebs, and kind of go, hey, we should update this and this and this and make some changes. And it's it goes to a committee first. As part of that committee, we talked about it, we debated it, and then it goes from there to the board. They look at it, they agree to it, and then it ultimately goes down to the members that you talked about, and they vote on it, right? So, but there's certain things that the government says that we have to do, and they had to be in there. So,
as a charitable corporation,
correct. And nothing's changed. Our mandate stays the same. Everything's good.
Well, that's perfect. So the next question is, what is the Elgin County Railway Museum's registered mandate as a charitable organization?
Well, I'm not gonna. I don't want to say it verbatim in case you do that, but I'll get it to you, and then you can post it. But once again, that's a Rose. Rose will make sure we do everything
the right words.
And Rose makes sure, trust me, there's many things I'd love to do, and Rose is like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. There's museum standards, blah, blah, and we keep on following those things.
Absolutely. The next question is North American Railway Hall of Fame's registered mandate as a charitable organization, which I'm sure would be the same.
Provincial, right?
Yep.
And we had a great, we had Charles Beckett nominated in there last year.
Yes.
His picture goes up in 2 weeks. It will officially go up on the wall. And then we have some really good nominations coming in. So if anybody has some nominations of who we should have, they're going to go in for November.
In case anyone doesn't know where that is, it is majority of it, if not all of it, is the second
floor in the
hallway of Queso Station. So please check it out. It's always open to go walk around as well.
Oh, sure. As I walk from Karen's office to Rob's office, or I say I have a chair halfway down that hallway just to see which member of Parliament, provincial Parliament I'm going to next. But so it gives me a chance to check out the whole.
We have a free office. We could just put you in there.
Yeah. I kind of have one.
Yeah. They're enough already. Right?
Can you start doing tours for us up there? Since you're up there enough.
I started my volunteerism as doing tours at the Queso Station shortly after we started to renovate it. When we first purchased, I was on those On Track, I guess was
On Track
the committee in those days. And so I did Saturday morning tours in one of the most scary places I ever saw.
Question that, and I'm not going to take it in, but Joe, did you ever think when you guys started the redevelopment of Queso, it would turn into the event that you had right now? The space does?
Not at all.
Not
right?
at all.
I think there was a real thought in everybody's mind. Okay, how much will it take to turn it back into looking like an old train station? Mostly, because I wasn't new to town, but I'd been here a while. But somebody said join the railway thing, so I did because we're doing some murals as part of the downtown development board, and so I joined. And we started talking about business concepts about buying the station and renovating it. I was a business person. I said, what railway station? They said, the railway station. And I went, point to it. And they pointed at what I called the red warehouse behind the grocery store, or behind Giant Tiger or whatever it was in the day. And I went, that's a railway station?
Yes.
Right? And I was a business person in town, but I'd come and I didn't have a railway heritage background. I said, well, I'm happy to help. What can we do? Right? And that was the thing. Did I ever think it would get to where it is today? No. It's leaps and bounds further along from a building usage point of view than I ever thought it would get to. Right? And I still have in my mind, I want to see the total can. I want to see.
I think we all do.
It's in. We've talked about that. It's in the thought process.
Right.
It's there. It's a process.
We found about partway through. I remember working a lot with Reg and Paul and some of the other volunteers in there that were there a lot, and saying, "Well, shouldn't we do that first?" Well, yeah, but we really got to make sure that. I just remembered the discussions, like fixing the roof, or there's 4,000 pigeons living in the attic. What do we do next? Close them in or open all the windows. We only had two choices.
Options.
Right. Or there are certain places a man my size couldn't walk in there because the floor was quite dangerous in some spots, and you could find yourself on the next floor down.
Level down.
Right?
So we put that one there.
So well, agreed, but it was quicker than the elevator. And so it was really, my whole time in this was you see what you can do if a group of volunteers, and I will tell you, after becoming a member of parliament, what also some help between Steve Peters and his level of government and myself, we found some money. We found some ways to get some of these things started. Never finished, but always started, right? And move along.
So that's my point, Joe. You guys took an old building, restored it. It's the showpiece of St. Thomas.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Serge, Matt, some other volunteers did the exact same thing at Elevated Bridge. Geez, we got this old clunky bridge. Now look at it. It's a gorgeous something to do. We're just you've done it twice. Now it's time to
it's the third time.
Third time's a charm.
Hey, it's big.
Patrick.
Right?
Yeah, it
it's
can
the
be
same
done.
thing,
Exactly.
right? We'll need the provincial, we need the federal government, we need local, we need the
and we
community,
need to do
need
the
members.
whole area too. And this is
And
why I'm
that's
glad to
the-
have my friend Doug working on that part of it too, because it isn't just about the museum. It is the museum and the lands around it.
Correct.
And what else we can do. And I'm glad he's jumped in with both feet. And I'm sure he has business partners who say, what the heck are you doing? But we can do it. And it will take government support, more government support. I know that over time, I've got certain grants already for the Railway Museum, but it was safety stuff that we had to get right at the beginning. And you don't start unless you start that way. Okay, let's make it so people can actually walk in there without part of the roof falling
down on
closing
their
down.
Yeah. Right. We've started. There's a heartbeat over there. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100%. Another question: can teenagers volunteer at the museum?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Another question is about a train-related festival in the downtown core with the local business participation, maybe walking tours of the city, showing how some of the buildings and sites around town and how they were related to railway history, i.e. Jumbo, Queso Station, etc.
So that's part of the bike tours.
Yeah, the scooter
Once
tours.
again,
It
Andrew
was
Gunn,
Yeah.
going through. One of the things that we're floating around, keep an eye out for it, is we're actually talking about doing a haunted walk in October. So if Rose, if you're listening, I think you're doing a haunted walk in October. But anyways, it would be.
I think we need to look at maybe getting pre-recorded tapes. I think Steve Peters maybe could do the
some other
the history of downtown as you walk through, pre-recorded, turn onto an app or something.
Well, if you were at the anniversary of the Queso Station, which I know I was at, and there was quite a bit of an acting piece that happened that day too.
It was very good, very cool.
Kind of talking about where it came from.
Yes.
Right? And
Sure, you don't know a videographer or someone that could do all that.
No, I don't know. No,
I don't know.
You don't know.
We'll have to go.
You don't know a
Town
videographer.
north of here
Our
might have one.
community could use a really good.
Anybody
Wow.
that is it.
Anybody
Right
knows
here.
one.
I'm right here. Right here.
I just wondered.
I've done it's just a couple.
No,
Amateur. I just like
I put your name forward to all the work that is non-paying and really a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm very well aware.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love doing stuff for the community. It's one of my favorite things. Oh my goodness. Dun dun dun. We've covered a lot. Some of the questions kind of repeat, so we're just kind of going through. What is council's interest in the rail lands, and how does it compare to the public interest?
I think that is. We have to try and represent the public interest. We have a large swath of contaminated lands in our downtown. It's fronted at one end by the Railway Museum, but it goes for quite a distance, and it has a chance to become better used than it can currently be used. But we want to talk not just to the Railway Museum about what they're trying to do with their site, but with all of the other neighboring, including the neighbors, right? Whether the Jonas Street neighbors or the Ball Diamond, or on the other side, what's now been being done at what was the old Marriott call center, where there's now PowerCo offices. Making it a vibrant place too. Those 7 days in a row where I was in the Railway Museum for different events, people from PowerCo were there almost each of the days, right? Including the hockey game. Right? So council's interest is getting it right, but getting it done. I think I made a statement at council the first time we talked about this. We can just put this off to someone else, or we can be bold and accomplish great big things in our community.
Yep.
And so we said, let's be bold. Let's the little bits of land that the city owns on each side of this makes us a player.
Mhm.
Our planning department makes us a player because a secondary plan will have to be done through them. But as the mayor, I've always been interested in ensuring the secondary plan has something to do with the landowners, right?
Makes
Right?
sense.
It's great
Yep.
that sometimes it's real fun that the rest of the people get to tell landowners what to do with their land. Right? I'm not one of those,
Yeah.
and I'd like to say let's make all the suggestions we can and let the landowner kind of pick from what they think is the best way to move forward in a cost-effective and yet great community way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to describe what we're trying to do with the rail works and the rail lands.
And I think that's how we
as a
get
city.
to a solution that is most beneficial for all parties involved and
Yeah.
truly bringing the community together.
Absolutely. Any update on the CN rail connection that would allow equipment to come and go from the museum and the PSTR?
Like the Ross Street?
No,
No,
You mean the
this is
connection
like
on the old
Yeah.
PSTR?
Yeah.
Look, and I've been fighting that battle for about 25
Yeah.
years with CN. The Port Stanley Terminal Rail is also in that with us. We have a couple of other issues right now going on with CN. It's a tough look at the connection. We're ordered by I want to say MTO or whatever the rail group was to make that connection 25 years ago. It hasn't happened. CN has fought us on it. And in each of my conversations with them, they're happy to make a connection, but it's not a connection any of us could ever use. And so they've often asked us, what are you looking to do? Right? That's our freight line on the other side of that gap. Are you looking to run in the way of CN?
Yeah.
Right. And I've said, no, they're working for a cooperative effort to be able to move pieces of equipment either in or out. Right. They said, we'll lend you a crane. I said, well, then for now, let's go there. But we'll continue to fight the battle. There's a few of us continuously, even today, sitting in this office. We sat there and talked about CN and certainly the Barwick Street Bridge and where the connection could be and how we can make it happen. Part of the reason this might be happening, I know other people have talked about PowerCo and where the city is gone. Because we've gone after big things in the economic side and have attracted industry the size of PowerCo and other industry for the Yarmouth Yards, CN is paying attention to us now because they're getting a great deal of potential work from a rail yard out there, right? And if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have the leverage we currently have. So I'm trying to use the new leverage we have to make it work. Somebody else asked, what's PowerCo's role in the railway heritage? Well, big industry and good money and good jobs in this community plays a lot in the fundraising side of anything we're trying to do. I don't care what, whether it's building pickleball courts or fixing our railway museum. So having industries involved in our community that see where other people care to put their time and effort, then they'll want to put their time and effort. Certainly the employees of a great big company like PowerCo Volkswagen will want to also put their efforts in there. And so please, I think we can say, way to go. We've got some economic growth happening that will help us in the future to grow our heritage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got a question about Mike Kirkleet's involvement with ECRM as part of the St. Thomas Economic Development Board. He's one of the great volunteers there on the board.
He's one of the. He goes back a while. He goes way before you and a lot of our.
Way before me.
If anybody knows Mike,
I do.
Doesn't say a lot, but when he speaks, very intelligent man, and
he's
to be honest with you, he's a great asset to the organization. And speaks and
I look up to Mike because everybody does.
Most people do. Yeah.
Except for Nathan Buckma.
But are we going to? Are we now going to pick people because they're volunteers? That there's something wrong with being a volunteer? I'm not.
No. The best thing ever.
Yeah.
We need as many capable volunteers as we can get.
Him and Elizabeth just had a new baby too.
They did. Congratulations,
Yes.
little Victor.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. They had a welcoming party for him on the weekend. And
How tall was this baby? I'm just don't go
You know,
there, Joe. It's just funny. It's
he's
funny,
a very
I know.
tiny baby, shockingly.
No,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
but we
But-
know it will grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've seen the Kirk fleets,
Yeah,
you know there will be
That's
growth.
Yeah.
There will be growth there.
Yeah.
But just an incredible human being. The amount he
Yeah.
gives back to the community is
100%.
phenomenal. The museum should figure out how to be a destination part in the Amazing Race Canada. What great advertising for them and St. Thomas. Have they been in touch with you?
I don't know.
No,
I
but
think
I'm writing
we're
that
gonna
down.
be making,
Yeah, well,
making some calls.
These are great positive things that we love to hear.
And I know the people, a bunch of the people that produce that show. So if you want me to connect you up with them, I can.
Well,
He is
see?
a good video.
He is good.
Yes.
Yes.
I know
He's
people in the
best one in
background.
St. Thomas.
Pull a train.
He can pull it through.
Yeah, they asked me to actually work on that show when I first came back to St. Thomas. I was like, no, I have to focus on St. Thomas. I can't go and run a camera for you.
All right.
True story.
That's
And,
super
and
cool.
St. Thomas
I know.
is such a better place because he
Yeah.
makes smart decisions
Yeah.
like that.
We wouldn't have Mayor's update.
Oh,
What
well,
would we do?
I'd be sitting here all by myself, not knowing how to turn the computer on.
Question on how come the bombing plot during one of the world wars of St. Thomas has never been mentioned in the history of St. Thomas? Well, I don't know about it. It hasn't been mentioned to me, so I can't.
Oh, that is a great story. But here's another great mayor's update we can do is bring a couple of the volunteers that know a lot of that history.
Right.
Besides Steve.
Well, we have Steve.
Mhm.
We've had Steve more than once, and
Right.
but you can't get to all of Steve's stories. So you're right.
No,
We're
that's
going to
right.
pick a couple.
But that
of
is a phenomenal story that we're looking at doing something inside the Queso station on a digital plaque where people can come in and say
Oh.
stories that they know about,
Right.
right? And yeah, so that's a
Love
great
that.
one. So once
Okay.
we have to find a videographer.
So we can't tell you tonight about the plot because it's still a secret.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it.
Yeah.
We will have it. We'll get to the end of it. Did somebody get punished? Did they go to jail, or did we shoot them for treason or anything?
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of.
Oh,
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
There we go.
On the edge of your
That was a
seats.
teaser. How
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that?
We got a shout out from Paul Jenkins, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Says big shout out to Will and his team for the aesthetic improvements to the Queso station. Place really looks great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Great.
Good
Thanks.
job.
Thanks,
Hmm.
Paul.
And Paul says the $5. No, never.
Yeah, yeah.
We did all this aesthetics. Now his
Oh,
rent
yeah.
just goes up
Okay.
higher. So I love
Yeah.
it.
That's great.
Ben Nichols says, okay, thank you for great response. Ben, thanks for joining us. We
Yeah,
appreciate the
yeah.
questions. I'm just going to skip through. We're way over time here, so I've got to
Right.
be respectful of your time.
Yes,
Who owns the Queso station? We'll just do quick fire questions.
The North America Railway Hall of Fame.
Who owns that? The community.
The
Yeah,
the
That's
bunch.
right.
Where is the vacant office in the Queso station, and what is the cost to lease it?
Wait, you offered me an office.
Yeah,
You see
yeah,
what happened?
yeah.
Right?
Reach out to me. It's well, right now I'm sitting in it. May not be
Yeah,
for
yeah.
much longer, but
We're happy
it's
to live in the
yeah.
hall with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's right outside Rob Flack's office. Well, not right outside the door before
Right,
Rob
right,
Flack's
right.
office. Yeah,
Once you come up those stairs or
Yeah.
the elevator,
That's
depending how lazy you are that day. Yeah, it's there.
Mhm.
yeah. There you go.
And
Reach
Paul,
out to me.
Paul Jenkins says Scott Michael is an awesome community builder, and I'm very grateful for his leadership.
Oh, look. Thank you, sir.
Bing bang boom.
Thank
Didn't
you.
spell your last name though.
Well, I think because he tagged me, and I think my Facebook is Scott Michaels. So,
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
Got it. Or he just looked at the Facebook one, typed that in because
Yes,
he couldn't see your last name.
He didn't know what the last name was.
Yeah. All right. I know we're getting through. There's a
Yeah.
da, da, da.
Anything that's kind of what we've done. Right.
Yeah, we can't speak to just in terms of some of the questions that come in. We can't speak to other people's opinions on things because they're not here. That would have to be addressed to them themselves. We've talked about what the city planning staff are currently working on with regards to the rail lands already. Okay, Larry Broadbent says, haha, I would love to call their bluff about supplying a crane to CN.
Yeah.
One of these days, Larry,
Well,
one of these days.
I'm with you. Well, let's force them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather connect the tracks, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Rob Stern has put in the bomb plot. There's a link to a YouTube video. Very cool.
Ooh.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank
Perfect. Thank you.
Don't anybody look at it. We want to do a story on it.
How does the land sale affect the eastern side of the museum and use of our transfer table to move out equipment in and out as we did this weekend?
So the rail connection is going to stay through. Right?
Yeah.
So Doug Terry was really great on the negotiation of that. He has given us an easement all the way through to connect to the I guess the north part and the transfer table will have to be expanded over, or depending on which door we go into. But that, the first thing I got to say is it's about protecting the building. And then once we protect the building, restore the building, then we're going to be into the connection.
As you've seen this year, you're able to get a great deal of the connection of the collection out into the sunshine, even under the way we currently are.
Correct. Yeah. Like so the property that Doug purchased. We had to go on there to transfer to go all the way around, but we have other options. What we're able to do is just going to take a lot more work, but it's doable.
Yeah, very good. Final comment here is from Dan Bernacht. 2 great events this past weekend shows what is possible for the future. And if anyone doesn't know Dan Bernacht, he's one of the most incredible volunteers for the PSTR. He is the person that drives the train up and back for all the Downtown Development Board events. And he works a full-time job and somehow works another full-time job running all these trains.
Well, and this week he was looking for a stool in one of his.
Yeah, his stool went missing.
Right.
So anybody seen that stool?
Well, I think it was just a sample.
Oh.
Sorry, Dan. That's all I got. No. Thank you for all you do and all the great information you share with me from a railway point of view.
When we did the comedy night.
No.
These jokes weren't as good as this one.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He's been working on
coming
it.
in October.
We can talk about that. Sanders not here to cover my material now.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right. Well, guys, we're way over time. We really appreciate.
I'm supposed to. Be
you're supposed to be out of here. Like,
I'm surprised that wasn't one of the questions from Stephanie.
Yeah.
Joe, are you coming home?
She's very respectful of our time. We appreciate Stephanie. I know you're watching. We respect the time that you allowed Joe to put into this because it's amazing for the community.
For tonight.
Absolutely.
And I'm back in this office early tomorrow morning for TVO. So.
Yeah, and Downtown Development Board.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it.
You're not going to make it tomorrow. We have an 8 a.m. meeting. That's fair.
Know.
You've been at every other one for the past, 10. I've been there 9 years.
For part of it.
You do a cameo, just walk across, and then walk in, look around, and walk out.
Come in from the mayor's door, walk around, and come out the other door, and say thanks.
Yeah.
I was at the meeting. Put me down in quorum. Yeah.
I love it.
I'm the walking quorum. I'm in my office if you need me for anything.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to our
Thank you guys
sponsors.
for what you do every week and the time and effort and having us on to.
And we'll have you back.
So, love it.
We're going to, and as we always do, if we get any more questions over the course of the week, and there's a lot on there, we've answered most of them in what words we can. And you're right, there's certain other ones. I can't give you what somebody else's opinion is of this. So I'll go ask them, and then with their permission, we might. But mostly, we'll do all we can to answer anything that comes in. And if we can't answer it, we're calling you.
Pass it off to us for sure.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next Tuesday.